Welcome to iRefresh, where we are empowering women, ordinary women, to do extraordinary things through the power of prayer and God's Word. And I'm Carrie Kittinger, and today I have with me Ann Hatton, and we are going to be discussing, there might be some tears today. We're going to be discussing a topic that that may be a difficult topic, but it is a topic that, Ann, you didn't think you wanted to be the expert on this.
That's right.
But you have become, and you're an overcomer. And so I want to talk to you today about your dad.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about just your family history and your dad, if you don't mind.
Okay, so growing up, I really looked up to my dad. He taught me everything I know, like hunting and fishing. He taught me how to use tools and how to tear engines apart. I did, yes. I had a lot of camo. But I also knew how to I was kind of both, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so he was my coach, and he taught me how to love and be loved, and he taught me how to fight and how to defend myself. He was just an awesome guy. Like, my parents would always have parties over at the house for our students and classmates, and they always called my parents mom and dad, and it was just a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun.
Was your dad a teacher?
He wasn't.
Okay.
No, he was in the heating and air business. So, no, everybody just liked coming over and hanging out with him just because he was a lot of fun. I mean, he was the usual, you know, dad jokes type of guy. You know, he always had silly sayings, like cool beans, and if you're not living on the edge, then you're taking up too much space. I mean, he had like all those dad joke things going on. So.
Right. And do you find yourself saying some of those things now today too?
I do sometimes, like, shut the door, we don't live in a barn, you know, stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
So sometimes, yeah. So he liked to entertain. So he had customers and he had toys. He loved toys like guns and four-wheelers. And
did you all live out of the country? So you had land?
We didn't really. We had an acre growing up.
Okay.
And even whenever he moved, he didn't. My parents got a divorce and he moved to Arkansas, but he still didn't have it. But he always, I mean, he went to land. Wherever there was land, he went to that. So
an outdoorsman.
Yeah, that's right. All the outdoors places always knew his name. He'd walk in and it was always, "Hi, Mr. Berner," you know.
Aww.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun. So yeah, he liked entertaining. He liked having people over. So yeah, he was just a good guy.
When did you notice that maybe something wasn't quite the way that you thought it should be?
So around my senior year, so before that, you know, I played a lot of sports. I played 11 years of softball, and I traveled with sports and stuff like that. So I never really saw my parents argue or fight. It was always happy. We went on family vacations. It was just, we always had a good time. We did things together as a family, and even collectively as like our outside family, like our extended family, you know, we got together with them once a month, and we just always did stuff, and it was always fun. So my senior year, my parents got in an argument. My dad moved out. So I never really saw him start drinking until after he moved out. Now, maybe he did, but it was a secret, you know. And so when he moved away, I noticed that the partying was more and more frequent. He would call intoxicated. He would call while he was out, you know, partying and stuff like that. And I didn't talk to him for a while after he left because, you know, he left. It was my senior year. My mom was extremely sad, you know, which of course, you know, that's just a given. They were married for almost 20 years, you know.
Absolutely.
It was just a heartbreaking, like Brady Bunch, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. So I noticed that he started drinking a lot, and anytime we'd go down there, I mean, even if we weren't of age, we were drinking too. It was just a thing to do, you know. That my dad was a party animal, and you know.
So you hadn't seen that really before,
right?
And then all of a sudden, this is, you know, new. Your parents are no longer under the same roof. They've divorced, and your dad is kind of going down a different road, and really taking you with him, and at some point.
Yes, because he made it look fun.
Right.
I mean, he was always the fun dad. So we would go to the hunting lodge and we would drink all night, and then, you know, somebody would take us out to our duck blind in the morning, and really sometimes we'd never go to sleep. You know, and I just thought that that's what you were supposed to do, and I didn't know any better, really.
Were there siblings as well with you, or was this just you and your
dad? So my sister like I said, it took us a long time to get used to him leaving, and I didn't talk to him for probably about a year, maybe a little longer, and I think it took my sister a little longer than that. But my sister wasn't really, she wasn't the hunting and fishing type. She liked to go fishing and stuff, but not really so much hunting. And she was also going to college, and she had moved away for a little while, and so she couldn't get away as much as I could. So that's probably why I was going down there a little more.
Well, tell us a little bit, and I know this is probably can stir up some emotions, and that's okay because you're human, and you're more than human. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
but tell me a little bit about the night of your dad's accident.
Okay, so it was a Thursday, July 15th, and I had been at work. He had called me several times. I had talked to him several times. My air conditioner had gone out, and my dad knew everything. I mean, to me, he knew everything.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know, so I called him. He was talking to my fiance at the time, now husband, several times that day. And whenever he was calling, I was like, oh my gosh, he's calling again. I'm trying to make dinner. You know, I've got so much stuff to do. And I hit ignore on my phone. And I was not aware that that was the last time I was going to get to talk to him. So the next morning, a Friday morning, I was going to have a garage sale. I was going to sell everything I had because I had a wedding to plan, and weddings aren't cheap.
Oh, yes.
So anything that didn't have sentimental value was going in this garage sale. And I had invited my aunt and my fiance to come. I was like, hey, you should skip work and come hang out with me. And
was it a Friday?
You know, it was a Friday, yes.
Yes.
It was. And so I told him to skip and to come hang out with me. It would be fun. We'd plan the wedding and sell a bunch of stuff. And so when I saw my aunt's van pull up, I was like, man, I can't believe she actually skipped work and is coming to hang out with me. And then I saw my fiance's pickup pull up behind that, and I was like, well, that's really weird. And so at this moment, you know, your flesh is trying to warn you, maybe the Holy Spirit is trying to warn you that, you know, maybe something isn't right. You should probably start thinking a little more about preparing yourself. So the Holy Spirit.
When you saw the cars pull up, there was just something within you that thought, this isn't right.
Yes. And so I then saw my uncles and my aunt, and I saw 4 people walking toward me that shouldn't be there. And at that point I knew, you know, that I'm about to be handed some bad news. And it's crazy, the thoughts that go through your mind in seconds, you know, the bad thoughts, the good thoughts, the who, what, where, you know, what am I going to pick up and go to a hospital? You know, what's going to happen? And your mind starts thinking of all this stuff, you know, while you see people walking towards you. So I told you that my dad taught me how to be strong and to defend myself. So my dad's youngest brother and another one of his brothers got on both sides of me, and they're trying to get me in the house, and I'm like standing strong, like, no, just tell me what you got to tell me, you know. I don't want to go inside, and I really don't want to hear what you have to say because, you know, they're not smiling.
I remember my dad was in a plane crash, and my mom remembers they were overseas, and men in uniform, he was in the Air Force, came to the door, and she saw out the window, and she said to herself, like you said, in her mind, she thought, if I don't let them in the house, I'll never have to know what they're going to say. That was she said it didn't make sense later, but there was kind of this thing, if once I open that door, I don't know what words are going to come out of their mouth. And so I'm sure for you, you're thinking, this is not normal, but I really want to know, you know, what this news is. And And the
answer was no. I really didn't want to know, and I knew that I knew it was going to be something. So that's when my dad's uncle my dad's youngest brother got in front of me and told me that my dad had been in a car accident. And I mean, your body reacts, you know, the only way it can. And so I'm screaming, and I didn't realize that it was myself screaming. I really thought that I just needed whatever that noise.
Experience.
Yeah, because when you're dealt with so much pain at one time, there's only one way your body can release it. And I was trying to think about what I needed to do, what's the next step, and I just wanted this noise to stop, and I didn't realize it was even coming from me. And so so from there, we went and told my grandma and then my sister, and then we drove from Oklahoma City to Little Rock. And so the story is, for the accident, he was entertaining customers that night. The phone call I didn't answer. I actually have on recording. He left a message, and I saved it. So whenever I go speak, I share this message. Wow. But he was already inebriated at 5:34 in the afternoon. He was entertaining customers that were in town. So they had went and got dinner, came back, went out, shot some guns, came back, did some things around the house, probably got some more drinks and, whatever. And when they went back out, he kissed his wife on the forehead, said, "Don't wait up," and they were going to go mudding. Well, he took off down the street, and he had told me just the weekend before that, you got to be careful going around this corner. It's a 90-degree corner. You got to take it into first gear. He had a CJ7 Jeep, and it had a 6-inch lift and 40-inch tires on it. So it was a really big,
oh my goodness.
So it was a toy.
Oh, yes.
So they were driving that. He did not take his own advice and flipped the Jeep 3 times. The Jeep landed on him and ejected his customer out into the field. His customer was able to dial 911, and they actually didn't find them until the next day. So he died on July 15th, but they didn't find him until 1 o'clock in the morning when they could pronounce him dead. So
did his customer in the car pass away as well?
He did not. Actually, they took him to ICU, and he was in ICU for several months before he was stable enough to be taken to his family in South Carolina. So it was a long haul for him of recovery. Yes. I don't know much about that side because I've never really actually talked to him. I just know, from our side. So it was devastating. I didn't honestly know what to do. I didn't know how to cope.
Right.
I had lost my grandpa, his dad, 2 years just before that, and that was really hard. But
when you do lose a grandparent, though, it is, it's very difficult, but it's that progression seems right.
Yes.
That you would lose a grandparent and not so quickly to have lost a parent. So I can only imagine.
Yes. He was 44.
Oh,
that's young.
That's very young.
It is.
Very young. And the older I'm getting, that's very young.
Yeah. So it was hard. Like I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't know who I could talk about it with. My husband now was there for me. Of course, he wanted to talk about it, but he didn't know my dad as well as some people, But the people who did know, like my sister, everybody handles things their own way.
Absolutely.
And I realized quickly that my sister didn't want to talk about it, and so I wanted to respect her for that. So I wasn't sure who I could turn to. And I was at church one day, and a friend of mine was talking about, the side thing that she does. It's called Victims Impact Panel of Oklahoma. And she was like, "You should come speak for me." And I said, "Okay, well, what do I need to do?" And she said, "Well, you just tell your story." And I was like, "I think I can do that."
Wow.
And so the first time I did that, I cried the whole time. Like, I don't even know if anybody heard anything I said. I cried literally the whole time. But it is all about impacting people who are offenders. So they're trying to get their license back, or have been arrested for drinking and driving, or other related drugs or something, and so.
Well, Ann, what an incredible platform. And
Thank you.
Again, I know this is something that I'm sure you didn't sign up for.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for, but how brave of you to be willing to share your story, to share your dad's story, and the good and the hurtful as well, right?
Yes.
Because I think in all of our stories, I love that you opened up with all the wonderful things about your dad.
Thank you.
But I'm sure those more painful things that you do share, those are hard. But yet, you're giving life to other people, and your story. I can only imagine how many people's lives have been saved because you've chosen to share that story.
Thank you.
And how proud your dad would be of you.
Thank you. So Jeremiah 29:11-14 is a scripture that the Lord laid on my heart to help me get through this, that He knows the plans that He has for me. He has every step numbered for me, and that He has never left me, that He is my Father, and that I struggled so much with not having my earthly dad here when He kept reminding me that He is there for me. And so I learned to lean on Him more. And so I stopped drinking, I stopped partying, I started going back to church. My husband was absolutely there for me. And helping me move on, with those steps and everything. So I learned how to lean on God.
Yes. Well, and Ann, I've never known your story, and I've met you several times,
Yes.
and your beautiful daughter,
Thank you.
and just what an incredible woman that you are, and
you.
And it's so powerful to hear other people's stories, to see how you've been able to overcome, but then yet you have this tenderness towards those that maybe aren't where you're at, because your life really could have gone in a different direction after your dad's accident, but how the Lord met you right where you were at and
Yes.
reminded you of His plan for you, and that's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I can only imagine that each time you share this, that there's just a new way that you overcome, and a new
Yes.
way that you're growing in your strength in the Lord.
Yes.
Because how many years has this been now?
It'll be 16 in July. Yeah. So
That's incredible.
thank you.
Yeah, so incredible. Well, I would love to just be able to talk to you more about this, and I would love to be able to put in our show notes just some of some ways that people can get involved
Yes.
with the same organization that you are, or to get people involved that would need to hear this story. And
Yes.
but what a gift that you are to our community, and thank you so
you.
much for being here with us today. I would love for you all to connect with our iRefresh family. You can get follow us on social media. You can look at iRefresh.net. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear about what the Lord's done in your life, and maybe some of you can really connect with Ann's story about growing up in a family where there was too much drinking and alcoholism, and the tragedy that some of that can bring. And so we want to leave you with a message of hope today, and that hope is Jesus, and that is where Ann is leaving this, that
Yes.
her hope is in the Lord and in the Father.
Absolutely.
So please connect with us at iRefresh.net and go and change your world.